In this section of the course, we'll write the actual code for our first Lambda function. It will be a very simple function. It will take a name as the input, and as the output it will return a message and some information about the Lambda context it runs in. In addition to that, it will write a message to the AWS CloudWatch log. A Lambda function can take a plain old Java object or POJO as the input and return any POJO as the output. The only restriction is that the POJO can be serialized by the Lambda JSON serializer. The first two classes that we'll create are our input and our output classes.
For our hello Lambda function, the input class will only have one attribute, which is name. So we right click on our package and say create a new Java class. We call it hello input and we give it one attribute called name. Now a Lambda function requires all your input and output classes to have getters and setters for each attribute. Luckily, within NetBeans, we can easily create those by inserting this boilerplate code automatically. So use the Alt Insert key combination or click Insert Code here and then click Getter and Setter. And then you select, in this case, all of the attributes, which is only one, and click Generate, and that code is automatically generated. The next class is our output class. Again, we create a new class, we call it hello output. Our hello output class will have three attributes: a string, which is the message, which in this case will just be hello and then the name we provided to the function. Then we are going to add some information about the Lambda context. One of those items is the function name, and we will also provide the memory limit as an output parameter. Again, Alt Insert, generate getter and setter for all of these attributes. And now our input and output classes are ready. Now the next class we'll create is our Lambda handler. So we call this hello handler, and this class is the one that will actually contain our Lambda function. In order for our hello handler class to be considered a Lambda function, we have to implement the Lambda request handler. In that implementation, we have to provide the input and output object or classes that we want our class to use. So in this case, those are the two classes that we just created. So we have a hello handler class which implements the Lambda request handler and uses a hello input class as the input and hello output as the output. First of all, we need to import the Lambda request handler. Simply do that by clicking this exclamation mark and say add import. Or what we could also do is just right click our code window and say fix imports. And if the IDE is able to figure out which request handle we probably want, it will automatically import that. Now we see there's still a problem because we're implementing a class, but we haven't actually implemented any of its methods. So we can again right click that and say implement all abstract methods, and it will automatically create a stub for our handle request method that we require to handle a Lambda request. So we have a handle request method. The hello input class is the input, and the context class will also be provided to our function, and we can use that to get some information about the Lambda runtime and include that in our response or use that in any way we want in our handling of the function. First of all, we need to create a output object. And then at the end, we have the input class has one attribute called name. So we want to, in our output, set a message that says hello input class get name. And we also want to provide some information about the actual function. So we can say output set function name, and then from the context we can get the function name. It's also interesting to get some information about the memory limit that our Lambda function can work with. And that's something that we will set up in the AWS cloud interface, or we'll set for each Lambda function a memory limit, and this will provide us that information during runtime. Get the memory limit, and we will return that output. Now, also very useful, within all AWS services, the logs are handled with CloudWatch log handler. Within a Lambda function, it's very easy to write to that log as well. The context object gives you access to the logger, the Lambda logger, and you can simply log to that and say, for example, there we go. Now our Lambda function is implemented. That's all there is to it. Any POJO that can be serialized as input and any POJO that can be serialized as output. The context object provides us information about the Lambda runtime, and we have to implement the request handler class, and then our class that implements the request handler, we have to create a handle request method which will take the input, do everything your Lambda function needs to do, and then return the output.